Like we're ready to go ahead and jump right into it. The North American World Championship qualifier is starting right now. It is game number 1 of round 1. And we're about to see who gets to go first.
That's a 1. Yeah, 6. Your choice.
Well, I'll start.
It looks like Nicholas is going to take things off, which is a great start already for Labrynth. You know, a trap-heavy deck, so he's going to want to be able to set some trap cards face down. Maybe get Welcome Labrynth or Big Welcome Labrynth online.
Looks like a strong starter here, starting off with the Ariana. Going to be able to grab any Labrynth card there.
Looks like Big Welcome Labrynth.
I don't think you're going to go back in, but all would dumb if you activate Prosperity or something.
Yeah, right. Ryan noticing that he might as well activate the Drone Lockbird in his hand. Probably not going to see Nicholas going back into the deck. He's likely just going to be setting those trap cards. But Ryan noticing, like, if he does activate anything along the lines of Pot of Prosperity, he's going to feel pretty upset.
Oh, and has the Lady in hand.
Oh, and the Ku Klux. So he's going to be able to activate the Big Welcome now. Because of the Ku Klux effect, you're able to use one set trap card the turn it's set.
Wow, this is a fantastic start here for Nicholas. Doesn't look like the nerves are affecting him at all. He looks pretty calm and collected and just doing his thing.
Absolutely. You think he's going to be going into the Silver Castle Labrynth here? Going to be able to add back to hand, and then because the trap card would have removed a monster, he's going to be able to send a card from Ryan's hand to the grave.
Yep, I think so. And it looks like you said Dimension Barrier. Is that right?
Yeah. He did send Dimensional Barrier off
with
the effect
Lady
of Lovely Lady, yes.
Yes.
Or Lady Labrynth, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he gets both of the Labyrinths of the Silver Castle on the field. Lovely and Lady gets the Dimension Barrier, which is going to be not too useful against the Vanquished Soul deck. They do use Xyz monsters and stuff, but mainly rely on going to the Link monsters and using their main deck monsters for most of their power. Yeah. But it looks like he discarded, is that a Rosin? Or is that a Mad Love?
Yeah.
It's a collector rare, so it's so shiny, I can't even really tell.
It's not my favorite. Yep. Main favorite.
Nicholas not knowing what his opponent's on, going for the safe choice of Dimensional Barrier, which covers most matchups here, but unfortunately not going to be able to cover much of anything against the Vanquished Soul strategy, except for maybe some Xyz lines and be able to protect himself from a Zeus.
Chain Lady.
Yeah.
All right, so he's going to activate Big Welcome Labrynth, going to special summon monster from his deck, and then Lady's effect is going to activate.
So Durama Cannon.
Yeah.
So it's Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon. That's one of my favorite cards out of Darkwing Blast.
Resolution, activate Lovely.
You're going to be able to activate Lovely, as well as being able to have access to that Ku Klux, so he can use that Durama Cannon this turn as if he chooses to.
Just to take another card.
There's a Stake Your Soul.
Oh, that's a good one to hit. Because I know he already has a fire monster in his hand, I believe. He had Kurikara, so Stake Your Soul with the fire is where you're trying to go. Looks like he's going to activate that Ku Klux to just add it back to the hand, so he'll be able to activate the trap this turn.
Ryan has access to Kurikara, Fenrir, and one other monster in his hand.
So they're probably going to lead with the Kurikara. Yep. Clears both. Gains 1,500 attack for each one.
Puts him at a whopping 45, I believe, at this point.
Strong Kurikara. Kurikara, one of my favorite cards. I believe it's from Power of the Elements. Just fantastic, fantastic card. Is that a Starlight Rare too?
Yeah, Ryan is a big fan of his cards. Oh, there's a regular Welcome Labrynth, I believe.
Nicholas not short on any of his Labrynth cards, that's for sure this game.
Yeah.
Another Ariana here, going to be able to grab another Labrynth card from deck to hand.
Yeah, Kurikara is just one of those all-time like strong cards. Even against a trap-heavy deck like Labrynth, you're still able to resolve it to destroy 2 of those monsters, and it's really, really strong. I think I like the main deck. It means a lot more to main deck it in Vanquished Soul because it's a fire monster, so it enables your Stake Your Soul and some of your effects that you need to reveal from your hand.
Yeah, and I mentioned yesterday, decks like Vanquished Soul typically play copies of Small World, so even just playing one Kurikara, just so you constantly have access to it, not even only to just be that fire type, but obviously the powerful effect of being able to resolve a Kurikara at any point.
Definitely.
Ryan did opt to go for the Kurikara play before summoning the Fenrir here, opting to just keep resources in hand, I believe. Not necessarily the strongest start here. He wants to maybe potentially bait out some more of those sets on Nicholas' side before he commits more to the field. I'm trying to think, does he have a Rosin in his hand?
I don't think so, but there's a chance. But yeah, I think you're right about him wanting to bait something out. Maybe if he gets him to use the Karma Cannon. Unfortunately, the Karma Cannon is just an excellent response to this. Wise of Nicholas to set it from his deck, because now, he's not going to be able to summon that Fenrir from his hand since he has the monster in his field.
Yeah, and Ryan is doing a quick concession here, knowing that the Durama Cannon is going to cut off that Kurikara.
Oh, I didn't realize. Wait.
Oh.
I thought it was Fiend, anyway. Okay.
Oh, but maybe you have to activate the trap when you use the clock.
Take the Lovely.
So I guess he.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't even realize it. So he's not able to use that trap right away. And now it's going to end phase, and the Curry Car is going to special summon a monster from Nicholas's graveyard.
That is a big
chain
swing.
strike.
Oh, well, he's just going to activate strike. That'll be enough there.
And Ryan still, even though he wasn't able to put it face down, Ryan just has nothing to really get things going. He knows that once Labrynth gets the ball rolling, he's going to be able to keep summoning monsters. He's going to be able to use the Welcome Labrynth, Big Welcome Labrynth, keep summoning more Labrynth monsters onto the field. Instead of wasting time, you want to make sure you have enough time on the clock to go to the next game, gets to concede, and now Nicholas wins the first game. That has to feel good, when you enter the North American World Championship qualifier. If you win that first game, you're like, okay, well, at least I did something right. I'm on the right path. It's like a moral victory, more so than one when you still have to win the next 2 games. But as you said, Ryan is a veteran. So even losing game 1, he knows that he can still win the next 2 games. And I think Labrynth is one of those decks where game 1, most decks are going to be at a disadvantage. But when you dive into the side decks, they're going to have a lot of cards that they can put in against Labrynth.
Absolutely. And again, there wants to be a very monster-heavy strategy for Ryan. So going into all kinds of removal is not usually his choice. So what do you think he's going to end up trying to do if he wants to just keep access to those fire, earth, and dark monsters?
It's tough. I don't know what you really side out. I guess I would imagine the Droll and Lockbirds, because it's kind of one of those cards that's like, that doesn't have an attribute that's really useful for you. Yeah, I think maybe just taking out the Droll and Lockbirds, some of those cards that you're going to be using from your hand to stop some of the other decks, you're not really going to want to keep in. So yeah, I would maybe Droll and Lockbird, it's probably the main one. Maybe some of the traps there, if he has any sort of traps in his main deck that might not be useful against Labrynth. There's a lot of cards that kind of are really useful against a lot of the combo decks, but when you face the Labrynth deck, you're like, oh, these can probably be swapped out for Lightning Storms, Cosmic Cyclones, Twin Twisters, Harvey's Feather Dusters, the slew of them.
So what about from the other side? If you're the Labrynth player
playing against Vanquish Soul?
Yeah, how prepared are you even?
Probably not. I mean, I think you're just going to rely on your main deck cards mainly. I don't think that's the advantage like Vanquish Soul kind of has. It's pretty a well-rounded deck. There's not like one card you can really put in against it that just absolutely blows that deck out of the water. So I think you're going to more so focus on just playing your game plan, just using your traps. Traps in general are pretty good against the Vanquish Soul strategy. What do you think?
I think Vanquish Soul is the deck that tries to capitalize on how scrappy it is and how much engine
scrappy,
it has.
That's a good word for it.
It tries to just generate as much advantage per turn as it can, and usually I think Brian, when he talks to me about this deck, he talks about how he consistently might have to just discard a card at end phase because he has too many. Yeah, that is what his goal is. And going against these decks that are just trying to out-pressure you, I don't know if you can with Vanquish Soul, because if they're not dealing all the damage immediately, you're giving them time to just amass their advantage again.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Because we didn't get to see it in that game 1 because he wasn't really able to summon a Vanquish Soul monster even, but they do rely on the Link 1 monster, Rock of the Vanquisher, and that card lets you quick effect during either player's turn add a Vanquish Soul from a graveyard to your hand or special summon a Vanquish Soul from your hand to the field. So being able to do that on your turn and your opponent's turn, really easy to amass that advantage that you're talking about. And now it looks like we are ready. The duels have shuffled up inside it. It's game number 2 of our first round at the North American World Championship Qualifier. I believe Ryan Levine is going to be starting things off this time. We'll see if we can see some cool Vanquish Soul plays.
Fenrir, the best Vanquish Soul monster.
Fenrir is a solid. It's really solid in Vanquish Soul because it's an earth, but you're able to use its effect to add a fire if you need it because you can use something like Ashtir or Rise Heart. But it looks like he's just going to grab another copy of Fenrir here.
I think the Fenrir engine that you can play in the Vanquish Soul deck is so interesting, or just so valuable rather, because of Small World. Being an earth, being a level 7, it lets you bridge into essentially anything.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. And now, Reinforcement of the Army is going to grab Vanquish Soul Rosin.
This is a pretty ideal starter here. Rosin is your main go-to in this strategy.
Yeah, it lets you add any Vanquish Soul monster from your deck to your hand. He's going to grab Dr. Madlove.
Can I read it really fast?
Yeah. Oh, which one? Yeah, sure, go for it. Yeah.
There's a good chance you're going to lead the Madlove too.
Yep.
So now he's going to be able to go into that Link 1 that we mentioned earlier and try to special summon that Madlove from his hand.
Link.
Here comes Rock of the Vanquisher.
Into Rock of the Vanquisher.
Yeah, so Rock, he can either add back the Rosin or special summon Madlove. It looks like you're right. He is going to go for the Madlove special summon. And when Madlove special summon, he's going to add a Vanquish Soul Speller Trap.
Going to add Vanquish Soul Continue?
Yeah, going for Continue here makes the most sense. Usually you're searching the copy of the other spell, which is Dust Devil, which is essentially a Book of Moon type effect
Flips a monster face down.
for the number of Vanquish Soul monsters you control.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
So you can get multiple down, which is really good against decks like Kashtira or more monster-heavy deck, and not so strong against something like Labrynth, which is really focusing more on spells and traps. But Continue allows you to special summon a monster from your graveyard by paying 500, or add it to your hand, I believe, and just able to keep your resources going.
Yep, and he's going to use Heavy Borger's effect to return the Mad Love to the hand. To special summon Heavy Borger to the field, he can reveal a Dark to draw a card. That's what he did. That's a quick effect he can do during either player's turn, similar to Decode Talker Heath Soul.
And now Ryan has approximately 7 cards in his hand.
And so the cool thing in this matchup with Dr. Mad Love, we see him holding the Cosmic Cyclone, not wanting to set it. But you're able to use Rock of the Vanquisher effect to summon Mad Love from your hand during your opponent's turn, and Mad Love also has the effect that you can destroy spell and trap cards in the column that it is summoned to. So he'll be probably trying to capitalize on that against this Labrynth matchup.
Absolutely. Those incremental just points of like removal that the Vanquish Soul deck tries to commit to is what really pulls it ahead. And it's also one of those decks that's particularly, I want to say, skillfully used, because there's just so many intricate things you can do, and if you don't know exactly what you're trying to do at all points, can be detrimental, you know?
Yep, definitely rewarding once you know your deck in and out. But it looks like Nicholas is going to start things off with one of my favorite cards, Triple Tactic Thrust, through this format. I think it's really good into the Kashtira matchup, but definitely good against most of the field. It's going to be met by an Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring from Ryan Levine, and now the Pot of Prosperity is going to reveal the top 6 cards for Nicholas. He's going to be able to add 1 to his hand with the rest of the bottom. We got Strike, Ariana, Big Welcome Labrynth, Solemn Strike, 2 copies of Solemn Strike, Dogmatic of Punishment, and a Pot of Prosperity.
Seems like he's leaning toward that Ariana here, getting access to any of the other Labrynth cards. Ariana itself is just better to open than any of the actual Labrynth trap cards, because you put that monster on the field, so when you activate something like Big Welcome, you get to put it back in your hand, get this like cycle loop going on.
Yep.
And then
targeting.
But that Ariana is not long for this world, as Fenrir's effect is going to banish it from the field.
Oh, there's duality.
Yeah.
But where's his Drone Luckbird now?
Where is your Joel Luckbird now? Probably in the side deck, but maybe he's going to regret that. Ooh, we see a cool card that we don't always see too often. That's Wannabe. I wonder if he's going to take it. Wannabe, you can discard it from your hand to activate the top 5 and set a trap. It's a pretty cool card.
You activate for the number of unused spell and trap zones on the field during the end phase, and you get to set 1 trap card from the deck that you revealed.
It's 5 if it's your opponent's turn.
Yes.
And you haven't set any spell or trap. Usually 5, but I guess it could be less, yeah. We see the classic Pot of Prosperity into Pot of Duality. He grabbed Dogmatic of Punishment off the Pot of Duality.
Into end main phase.
So in the main phase, he's going to continue to bring back the Rosin.
To reborn it. So I pay 500.
Rosin's going to be able to add a monster on summon.
You got to pay 500 if you want to continue. Continue?
Okay.
I love the Vanquish Soul theme so much. It's just really cool. And like how they all have multiple attacks, just like they would if they were in a fighting game themselves.
Oh, and there is Caesar.
Anything on rest?
Yep, that's their boss
Caesar
monster
Valius,
of sorts.
To turn it back to my hand.
Similar to Borger, being able to target a monster during the main phase, add it back to your hand, summon it, and now he might have all 3 types in his hand. Dark.
Caesar Valius.
Yep, if you can reveal all 3 attributes.
Earth monster, dark monster,
Earth, dark, and fire.
And now this is a non-targeting removal.
Yep, and he still has the Rock of the Vanquisher effect, I think.
We'll go to end phase.
Yep.
I
know it excavates some amount of cards.
Okay, so now it's going to be 3 since he has 3 open spell and trap card zones.
Unused, yes. So you excavate 5 and you get a trap. Cool.
Yeah.
It is 5. Okay.
It's based on your opponent.
Oh, okay. I know most of the time when I see resolve, it's 5 usually. Someone has it.
Oh, Waking the Dragon. So now Ryan, maybe not so sure about going after those blank sets anymore.
It's a little scary to see. Like, well, that's some good information to know. That could really turn the game around if Nicholas was able to resolve a Waking the Dragon. So every game I've seen Waking the Dragon resolve, even multiple in one game, they were still end up not being able to get it. But it looks like seeing that information isn't going to dissuade Ryan from continuing his plays to destroy a card on the field.
Non-targeting quick effect removal is just so powerful because Nicholas has a choice here, right? If he has to activate any card he needs to use, and then Ryan can just choose to hit something else.
It's a really strong card. I'm a big fan of the Vanquish Soul monsters.
Having that effect once per turn on both players' turns for like essentially the remainder of the game at this point, it's going to be so hard for a strategy that uses trap cards to really commit to. Look, there goes the Doom again.
Attempt to enter battle.
Do you think he went after that one because he saw Nicholas kind of eyeing that one more than the others?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a little bit going on there.
Start a battle phase.
Activate.
All right.
There's a big welcome here. I imagine it might be met with something along the lines of Asher Bell if Ryan has access to it.
You're right about amassing that advantage. Ryan's sitting on a full hand of cards, 4 monsters on the field, and I still don't think he's used Rock. Well, he doesn't have to use Rock of the Vanquisher yet.
He hasn't done anything, really.
He hasn't done anything. Yep.
Going to be able to,
chain Cosmic on the other after.
using the Cosmic, clearing out that last set there.
Ryan showing how the Vanquish Soul deck kind of picks apart boards. It's really strong going first, but we saw kind of going second against Labrynth in game 1. It was a little rough for him.
Target rock.
Using the Divine Punishment on the Rock there. I believe this is outside the main phase, so Rock is not going to be able to use its effect here.
So, Lady Summon. So Chain Link 1 Fenrir targeting Lady.
Chain 2 entities target border.
Border? Okay.
The Cosmic being
This is,
used in that chain before Lady hits the field, so that Lady can be targeted because Lady has to have a set spell and trap for it to be untargetable. So now Fenrir can go
I'm
after
gonna
it.
Chain
Heads up play here from Ryan. It looks like he's going to chain heavy burn.
burn for 1,500.
Ryan decides he doesn't need to draw any more cards, so he's going to use Heavy Burger's other effect to reveal the 2 attributes, Fire and Dark, and then you can inflict 1,500 points of damage directly to
So continuing
your
attack
opponent's
for
life points.
3,000.
Yeah.
Chain target the doctor.
All right, Nicholas is trying to summon Druid Worm from the hand. That'll help deal with the board.
Oh, I thought that was doctor. Sorry.
Yeah,
Border, whatever.
yeah. It's only Dark I have, yeah. Okay.
And now the Druid's on the field.
Yeah, so I'm gonna attack it.
Choosing to commit into it anyway, he's going to let him get rid of the Caesar.
For 24.
Would you have stopped the attack and switched to Fenrir just to banish off the Druid Worm, or do you think this is right just to continue with attacks to get the damage in?
He already used Fenrir this time.
Oh, he
so
did?
yeah, he went.
Oh, it's on the Rariana, right? That's right.
I think he sees that he has enough resources in hand. He has a normal summon yet. He can just start the resource loop with Rosin again. He's likely going.
He can add it back with Rock of the Vanquisher.
Yes, he's going to add back the Caesar, I imagine, trying to just keep that access because Nicholas has no cards right now. He's going to be able to just want to Caesar every single turn. Oh, he's just going to actually add another copy.
Why not?
Yeah.
He can add back the attributes he needs for the Caesar with the Rock of the Vanquisher. It's real. The deck is kind of showing you how it's so well-rounded and continues to pile on the pressure as they amass advantage. Because Nicholas is sitting on no cards in hand, no cards on field right now.
This is what happens when Vanquish Soul is allowed to start its resource loop. And I think Nicholas was really lucky with his hits off the Lady on the first 2. He hit Stake Your Soul and Mad Love, so it wasn't able to get access to any of the Vanquish Soul monsters that are powerful enough to just start amassing the resources. But this is what happens when you open Rosin. And now he's opting to use Small World, getting rid of the Rosin, bridging into anything, maybe going into, I imagine, an Ash Blossom, just banishing a different fire, or no, Pantera being banished there, so that's an Earth, to grab a copy of Bell.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the cool thing about Small World. You can either use it to trade in your monster effects that you can't really use except unless your opponent's doing something, for something useful, like a Rosin, or you can do it the other way around.
And then Earth is the bridge here.
There's a Starlight Ghost Bell, too. Beautiful.
Oh, Ryan only has nice cards.
I've noticed that.
In fact, he might actually have specifically
And
not Collector's Rare Borgers, and he's very upset about it and just wants you not to look at them.
Please don't look at my non-collector Borgers. I love Heavy Borgers. It's probably my favorite card in the Vanquish Soul deck. But it looks like Nicholas has seen enough. Piloted pretty well there by Ryan, who's able to go blow through all those back rows and win game number 2 and even out the series here in our first round.
Some very dominant games here from both players. Nicholas really showing what Labrynth does game 1, but Ryan really showing what Vanquish Soul does in game 2. Maybe game 3 we'll get to see a bit more even odds. Nicholas is going to be able to start again, assumingly. I don't think he's going to want to let Ryan get a go-ahead just like that. But we don't see Nicholas playing as much of the monsters of the Labrynth strategy as much. We saw the Kukulak, but we haven't seen anything like Stovey yet.
Some of the other main monsters that we see popular more recently than other past Labrynth strategies. Maybe you think he's replacing those cards with like Wannabe and more like traps and stuff like that?
Which I think is more functional against maybe a more Kashtira heavy field is what you're looking for. But
especially the destructive Daruma Karma Cannon. Putting a monster face down and sticking on the field can be devastating.
So when you have all those kind of cards that are really useful against the rest of the field, but not necessarily useful against Vanquish Soul, what are you trying to put in? What are you trying to remove that not necessarily as useful?
Well, I mean, maybe some just general going first cards. You have like Anti-Spell Fragrance, which could be good if they're not able to use something like Stake Your Soul. It could cut them off from getting started. Just some general basic cards like Solemn Judgment's always, I'm going first, why not set a card that can negate anything? Something like that. Just some general cards that will be good against everything. There's really, as we talked about, nothing that specifically can target Vanquish Soul because it's just so resource heavy. And depending on how they draw, they can do a number of different things. And you don't want to have like those one cards that'll just trade 1-for-1, because if you're trading 1-for-1 with Vanquish Soul, you're probably going to lose that battle, because Raka the Vanquisher is just a plus every single turn, during both players' turn. Borger is a draw every both players' turns. We saw the Caesar can destroy a card during both players' turn. The fact that all these monsters are quick effects, and you can do them twice as often as most players can use most of their monster effects, really is why Vanquish Soul has been so popular leading up to this event. Kind of fell out of favor. People were wondering if Vanquish Soul was going to be a deck people were going to bring to the North American World Championship qualifier, but with someone like of Ryan's caliber thinking it's good enough, I imagine we'll see other players be playing it throughout the weekend, and maybe we'll see a couple in Top Cut.
Absolutely. Now, there's still this match to be played. Ryan not necessarily out of the seat yet. He could be walking away with a loss in round 1. Because
True.
Nicholas definitely seems like he understands how to play his Labrynth strategy.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and Nicholas doesn't seem nervous at all. Both these players seem very cool, calm, and collected. Well, that's another thing. There's a lot that goes on at our North American World Championship qualifier. Public events, voice actors, artifact signings. But that's neither here nor there for now. We're going into game number 3. It's time to duel in round number 1. We're about to see which one of these players will be moving on with a 1-0 record.
Yep.
We'll see if Nicholas is able to open that Ariana Kuklak combo that he had in game 1. That is honestly one of the most ideal starters for this strategy. You're able to set up the big welcome, add the Ariana back to your hand, summon the lady, go after another card in your opponent's hand, and then reset the big welcome, so you just get to do it again on the next turn.
Definitely a strong start. It's the same start we saw Nicholas with in game number 1.
There's the big welcome. Prosperity is digging for that Kuklak maybe.
This is definitely a strong start for Nicholas, and I can kind of see Ryan's hand. I see Vanquish Soul continue, which is not a card you want to draw. You usually want to add it, but it might help him play through something like Dogmatic of Punishment. So potentially not a terrible card, but we'll have to see what the Pot of Prosperity reveals. We see Wannabe, Lady, Droll. Well, this is a selection. Pretty much have your choice of whatever kind of card you want.
No Kuklak though, but I think any of these choices would be strong. I think a lot of them could be detrimental to Ryan here. Ryan, unfortunately, with a lot of spells in his hand, which is not pretty typical of that strategy, but luckily I imagine Nicholas, if he did have any Eradicators at all, they would not be in the deck anymore at this point.
Yeah, I mean, maybe eradicating the Stake Your Soul, not too bad, but definitely not as strong as it would be against other decks. Yeah, that'd be tough sell for him to put Eradicator in this matchup.
I mean, it's one of those weird situations where Eradicator, even if it's not necessarily strong in the matchup itself, you want to be able to hit those blowout kind of spells like Lightning Storm, Feather.
Oh, true.
So maybe you just put it in against everything anyway because you expect those cards to be coming in.
Sure.
Yeah, he saw Cosmic Cyclone in game number 2.
There is regular welcome, Labrynth here.
Probably going to summon Lady. No, it looks like he's thinking about Lovely. Nope. Lady's usually the go-to. Yep, here comes Lady Labrynth.
Resolution, thinking.
Sure.
Of the Silver Castle.
Currently untargetable because of that set big welcome. Now, but the big welcome is being activated. So because the big welcome was flipped, he's going to be able to use Lovely's effect. Going to be able, or sorry, which one is this one? Is it
Lady?
Yes. Sometimes I get confused on those because they're so similar. But yes,
just that one word difference.
Yeah.
Yep.
Lady is able to set another trap card from the deck because this trap card was flipped.
Juma.
That's Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon.
You know, we talked about Dogmatic of Punishment, which is an interesting choice, not necessarily something you see all the time from Labrynth strategies. Maybe in like the early days it was more standard, but now it's definitely fallen out of favor. Something that can be really useful against monster-heavy strategies, but the special thing about the Vanquish Soul strategy is they have several monsters that allow you to protect your monster from being targeted by essentially tagging them out from your hand.
And
very true. So we see him activate the big Welcome Labrynth after the Welcome Labrynth, so he's going to be able to summon the Lovely and bounce, means return the Lady to the hand. So he's able to use the Lady to set Destructive Daruma Karma Cannon, and now he's able to have Lovely on the field.
Able to go after a card in the hand because the Lovely, or
the monster left the field because of a trap card effect. Yep.
Doesn't have to be your opponent's. That's
it could be anyone. That is a huge deal, as we see here. And oh, man, is it a rosin? His cards are too shiny. I think it's Mad Love again. Oh, it's still Mad Love? Okay. They're so shiny and so intricate, but definitely you don't want to see a level 4. Oh, he has the continue, though, so that might actually help.
Let's see.
Not a big deal, maybe.
It's also a copy of Small World in his hand. I think there's like plenty that he can do. He might start off with just summoning that. I believe there's a Fenrir in him. No, actually, every card is just shiny.
All right,
it's a small world.
It is a small world after all. Let's see what he's going to banish. Oh, now he's going to banish.
Oh, that's a Mad Love.
That's a Mad Love.
We're going to bridge from Dark into Borger, which is level 7, into Kurikara, which I believe there's 1,500 stat there.
Oh,
common.
yep, that's what it is.
So Dark is the bridge and 15 defense is the bridge.
There you go.
Small World is such a cool card. If you, it really rewards deck
Yeah,
construction,
gotcha.
and especially in a deck like Vanquish Soul,
Resolution.
you can most of the time just add anything you want.
Control.
And there is a Drollin Lockbird. Oh no.
That can be pretty strong against
sorry,
Vanquish
Brian.
Soul.
Use Kurikara again.
It's 4,500.
I think around the summon.
This is looking a lot like Game 1.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Ryan has a little bit more engine this time, so hopefully he's able to just summon one Rock of the Vanquisher and start just amassing advantage before Nicholas is able to just put out all the damage he needs. Oh, but there is the Gozen match, so now Ryan locked into fires.
That could prove to be slightly annoying.
Three. Yeah.
Usually, the Vanquish Soul deck, even under Gozen match, obviously it has its 3 typical types that it goes for, but once it's locked into one, it can choose to stay in that pretty well. Like Borger can just keep drawing, going for its dark effects.
35.
But when you're locked into fire, there's not that much you can do.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
Go ahead and set one. And you don't have an Ash in there for fun, right?
No.
Okay.
Yep, Kurikara not going to be able to summon any of those dark
yeah,
monsters
gonna
from
go
the grave
ahead
here.
and
Just gets to hit in for
gonna
some
do
damage.
And if is activate. Sure.
Yep, being able to use
Anything here?
No.
Lady here.
Good.
So in the hands as the trap card is activated. Well, now it's an unstoppable force versus an immovable object.
But we'll see how much engine Nicholas has to work with. I think there's another copy of Ariana in his hand.
And he has that destructive Daruma Karma Cannon set.
There's the Ariana.
Sure.
Things are looking pretty good here for Nicholas, if I had to guess at this point, but I wouldn't count Ryan out of it just yet. He just needs to get, once the Curry card gets off the field, I think you mentioned just getting locked into darks is a lot better because, yeah, you can use Mad Love. Mad Love can just take out the Gozen match if it's a problem. Or you can take out something else and then, yeah, swap out the Mad Love for a Borger. So there is like a path that Ryan still has to get back into this game.
I believe Rock of the Vanquisher is also dark, right?
I think so. It's either Dark or
yeah,
Earth. I don't remember 100%. I can pull it up and just double check.
That's really the big one, is getting locked into whichever one you can use the Link 1 in. So you can amass all the additional advantage that Link 1 allows you.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Because getting his new set there, setting it up, going to be able to use the Daruma Cannon here.
Yep, Rocky is a Dark. So, yeah, once he gets into Darks, he'll be good to go.
Chain. Target.
Interesting. Chaining the continue to the
Thinking.
Daruma Cannon here.
So either adds to the hand or summons it.
I can't summon it currently. But
Yeah, I was like, he can't summon
it
it.
has to hand at the moment. Good.
Interesting.
What reason do you think he had to use that now? In chain to the Daruma Cannon.
I'm not certain. Do you have an idea? I'm not certain why you would chain it here to the Daruma Cannon.
Ryan clearly had a plan on that. Like, now I'm trying to
Yeah.
piece it together.
How many cards are in here? Like
3.
4? 3.
He knows more than I at this moment. But now it looks like Nicholas is considering his options. He did special summon that lady during Ryan's interface, so he's able to flip summon it on his turn. Now he's going to banish the Big Welcome Labyrinth to return a card on the field.
Because he controls
Oh, from
the level 8.
I was like, where did that go? Yeah, you're good.
Battle.
Yeah.
And then since a monster left the field
I go
due to a trap
to
effect,
46.
gets to reset the trap.
Or 45.
Yeah.
So now he has
no,
access
sorry,
to Welcome.
3,000. I go
and-
45, sorry. Yeah. I'm at 45 and he's at 35.
I'm trying to remember the other 2 that he has set.
Main phase 2.
Yeah.
End phase.
Ryan's going to need a good card here. He's facing down a full board here from Nicholas. Oh,
Ash Blossom.
a little late.
No.
Activate.
Looks like Nicholas is going to try and go after a card from him. Oh, the Ash works perfectly here, stopping that Welcome Labyrinth. Maybe not too late.
And then he's chaining the big Welcome here. Doesn't seem to be a bell to interact with that.
You know, as inviting as the Labyrinth strategy seems, they're always welcoming. They have a Welcome Labyrinth, a big Welcome Labyrinth, but it's a trap.
It is literally a trap.
Do not go into the Labyrinth. Once you get inside that house, it's scary. The castle.
just gonna read this real quick while you're
Just
while you're
really
choosing.
inviting your cards to the graveyard.
They certainly are. I love the theme, the lore, and looking at all the different mysterious things of the castle. Looks like Nicholas thinking about what he wants to set from his deck with the lady.
Druma.
Another Druma Cannon. Seems to be a big fan of this card. He is on like 3 copies, I believe.
It's so
Or 2,
good.
actually.
It's really a good card against a lot of different decks. Like pretty much any deck that summons a monster, you can flip it face down. And the thing about flipping a monster face down instead of like negating a monster effect or putting a defense mode or something is once it's face down, they can't link summon with it. They can't special summon Kastira monsters from their hand. It's an all-around one of the most powerful trap cards in the game.
You know, you think about this card, and a lot of people, when it was initially announced, considered it a better copy of Torrential Tribute in the modern game, even though if you looked back in the day, they could never really compare the two because Torrential, removing the monsters was so much more important. But now, a monster set is way less accessible to anywhere else.
Which is, yeah, it's awesome to watch the evolution of Yu-Gi-Oh! And how that happens. So Ryan only sitting on 3 cards. Looks like he's contemplating using Small World. Doesn't activate it.
He has the option to go for Kurikara again because of the effect of Lady being used. A Small World just going to be negated with Ash. Not a cost, so you don't have to lose any of those other cards in hand, but he's going to lock himself into fire once more.
So 3K.
3 yeah.
Not nearly as big as it used to
Got
be,
him.
so now it can be at least crashed into by those, by Lady, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Lovely is only 29.
Yep. And now Kurikara is going to declare an attack on the face down monster.
Which is the Ariana, right?
Yep, they got flip face down thanks to the Druma Cannon.
There is the Dogmatic Punishment.
Okay.
Does he
Yeah,
play
3K attack monster? Probably.
yeah, the Tri-Brigade? The Tri-Brigade. Yep.
Effect.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to also send Garua with the Tri-Brigade link to draw a card.
Unfortunately, he will not be able to go in the extract next turn. Oh no.
No, no.
Maybe it's-
What will Labrynth ever do?
But finally, Ryan is free, able to summon his Mad Love, can now go into all the
Okay,
darks
yeah.
in his strategy. And there's the Dust Devil. That is your quick play, essentially Book a Moon. Again, not that useful in this matchup, but
Able to flip, it's pretty strong against Kastira, not so good against Labrynth.
Sorry, I'm linking. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just going to link it
wasn't
away
clear.
for a dark.
Rock.
there's Rock with the Vanquisher. Able to, quick effect in the main phase, either summon a monster from your hand
add back.
or add back from the grave. Going to be able to add back that Mad Love.
Ryan's fighting. He's trying to do his best. He's
All it
fought-
takes is a few turns of just amassing those
Turn
resources.
phase, activate.
Yeah, but there's Lady coming back.
Am I allowed to like look at what Dust Devil does?
What's that?
Am I allowed to look at what Dust Devil does, like on Yu-Gi-Oh! Neuron or something? Is that legal?
This is
the
clarifying
same
if he's
time
able
that
to
Dust Devil was moved
get
out,
access to the information.
and it's no longer public.
Yeah, I know. Can I read the card like a copy of it, as in on like Yu-Gi-Oh! Neuron? Isn't that legal?
You don't believe that to be the case.
Okay.
Just asking if you can check the text on a card that's not public knowledge currently, and the answer is no.
Yeah, that was updated recently.
Please play. That is time in the round.
We still got
Draw
12
phase.
minutes on the clock.
At this time, active players, please finish.
So he's going to use the big local Labrynth to put back the Rock of Vanquisher.
extension.
Normally only able to go after monsters in control, but because there's a level 8 monster on the field, he's able to go after any.
Effect.
And
Yep.
that is enough.
3 copies
on.
Just every turn, just being able to normal summon an Ariana over and over again, and just able to outgrind Ryan in that matchup. You know, I think the die roll had a huge implication in this game. Both these decks really like to go first. This might be one of Vagrant Soul's